What's going on, YouTube? It's Hightown. It never ends. It's more and more of the stars of Hollywood. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you watch my review, you might remember I said they did not bring that hot therapist on this show for nothing. Well, the hot therapist has landed here, ladies and gentlemen. It's Janelle. Her name is Crystal Lee Brown. And Crystal Lee Brown, I must say before we get started, I got to say this. How does it feel to know that in all of short hairdos, you are number one on Mount Rushmore for having the best short hairdo ever? How does that feel, Miss Crystal Lee Brown?
It feels amazing because of those amazing artists that you have up there with me on Mount Rushmore is the reason why I cut my hair. I think it was Halle Berry first in Jungle Fever. I was like, I'm cutting my hair because that is sharp, and I've never went back. Even when I let it grow back, I was like, nah, I'm cutting it again.
Well, just know that you is wearing that thing. I mean, definitely that's why you made number one on Mount Rushmore. And whenever we have our fantastic guests such as you, I have to give you the Hollywood ovation. Sit tight.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, Miss Crystal. Now, when I first saw you on screen, I just had an automatic, can't take my eyes off you. And then as I started doing some homework on you, I figure out why. So, fellas, if you must know, and ladies too, if you ever want to find a good female on the planet Earth, all you gotta do is find a Crystal. Her name is Crystal Lee Brown. Crystal Lee Brown, meet my wife. Her name is Crystal too. So, fellas, if you want a good woman, go find yourself a Crystal. And we found us another one right here on the scene today. How are things going with you, Miss Crystal?
Everything is amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I've watched your episodes, and I was like, oh, this is going to be fun.
Oh, yeah. We gets down, and we try to make sure that when we invite people here, it's not your traditional cookie cutter interview. We want to make sure that we are entertaining you because you've worked so hard and given us something that we can see on screen. And we want to make sure you have fun, you feel relaxed, and you just be entertained yourself during these interviews. So that's what we're going to try to do with you today as we get to know you as a group.
Okay.
So let me start out. It's to my understanding you are from Philly. So tell me about your humble beginnings and how you got started in acting.
Yes, I am born and raised in Philly. On the playground is where I spent most of my days. I would bust out in the whole Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song, but I won't do that for you.
Feel free if you must.
With Will Smith. I mean, I know like his family, but his favorite math teacher, Miss Brown, was my math teacher when she left Overbrook and came to my high school. So that was like her claim to fame that Will Smith was her student. And he actually mentioned her on the Oprah Winfrey Show when he was a guest years ago. Okay. So Miss Brown was like famous for that. But Philly was amazing. I went to college there, Temple University, TU. And from there, I moved to New York City where I was doing way off Broadway theater, but my minor in college was theater. I went to school for sports journalism, so my dream job was to be the next Robin Roberts or Hannah Storm on the sideline, interviewing the top players. And I did work in sports for a few years prior to me moving to LA. So I left one career and I pursued acting. It was pulling me a little bit more than sports journalism.
Wow, that is an amazing. So you got a calling for acting. So tell us about the start of that. How did you get started? Did you get a big break? Did you have to work at? How did you get that whole thing started? Everybody has a great story on how the thing got moving for them. So what is your story on how you actually got into acting and your first gigs?
Well, my interest started as a young girl watching Sunday matinee movies with my mother. So she introduced me at a really young age to Imitation of Life. It's a mad world. Bad Seed, Silkwood with Meryl Streep. So I was watching Meryl Streep before I even knew who Meryl Streep was. I was like 5 years old. And that is where I gravitated towards this fondness of acting. And then from there, she put me in some theater programs in Philly. And then once I graduated college and moved to New York and was doing off-Broadway theater, I moved to LA with a certain amount of money to my name. And I've been here 17 years. I've been here 17 years. So when I got here, you know, it was just about learning the business and getting acclimated to LA and where all the actors hang out at and what do you do? How do you get an agent? All those things. So I put in my time. I have well over 10,000 hours. And so, so that's how it all started. And when I first moved here, I got my SAG card by being on the Eve show, the rapper Eve. Remember, she had a show.
Oh, yeah, she did have a show
years ago, and I was on her show. But when I first moved to LA, I did background work, and I worked 17 days on Dreamgirls. That was my first. I wasn't even in LA a month, and Dreamgirls was filming with Jamie Foxx and Beyonce. And I signed up, and I worked 17 days on that job. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing this.
and so that got your feet wet, and you was like, yeah, I'm here. Let's get ready, Hollywood. But I also understand that along with the passion for the thespian events and the thespian parts of your career, you're also an audition coach and a dialect coach and a self-tape specialist. Explain to me what those titles are and how is that going?
Yes, so I coach actors. I'm an actor. I'm an audition coach. I own a company called iTape LA, which I'm practically sitting in right now, is where I self-tape my own auditions as well as help my fellow artists tape their auditions. That came about 10 years ago, just being an actor, self-taping a lot. It was a fairly new thing about 10 years ago. Now this is all we do, especially because of the pandemic. So I just had to learn it and perfect it. And I was taping a lot of my actor friends, and it snowballed into everybody in LA wanted me to tape them. And I was like, okay, I need to turn this into something, because I got bombarded with referrals and things like that. So it turned into iTape LA, a super successful company. One, I think, of maybe 3 Black-owned self-tape companies in LA. And I did it. Thank you. I did it just to create a safe space for my fellow actors. You know, I think in the 17 years that I've been in LA, I've only been to 2 self-tape places, and I wasn't happy with, the experience. So I said, let me create a place where I know as an actor what I need when I'm auditioning. So to provide that for others, that's great. And then when I'm not in front of the camera, I work behind the camera as a dialogue coach for multicam television. Which is essentially
so now you coach. So now you see why I stress that I'm so thankful that you're sharing your time, because your time is more valuable than the money somebody can put in your bank account. Look at all, you got like 2,000 jobs, and it is Black History Month.
I'm from Philly, it's all about the hustle.
I was about to say, man, you getting that hustle on out here on these streets, and I'm happy to hear about that. And boy, you about to make me want to fly to LA, get me some coaching lessons, come to that school you teaching, and make some things happen now, because they keep telling me to go and get on in it. I might make it happen. Don't be surprised. And so let's dive into your career. A very decorated career. Spans back to, like you said, 2006 with Eve up until now. And I think that there's a couple of roles you've done: Good Lord Bird, Judas and the Black Messiah, and Motel. I actually have clips of you in those roles, so that people who might be new to seeing you can see what a sister from Philly, West Philadelphia, is. No,
I'm not from West Philly. Will Smith from West Philly. I'm from Germantown. I'm from Uptown. I gotta represent.
Now, see, I knew that, and I was waiting to see how you was gonna sling that arrow at me. Pew, pew, pew. I knew that. So that was the test to see where you was gonna go with that, and you went exactly where I thought you would go. But for my fans, This is where you go when you get to see Miss Crystal in action.
It was you and your wife who taught me that Jesus has no respecter of persons. Do you remember teaching me that? What does it mean?
That in his eyes we're all equal.
Yet I am a slave. Yes. After the last one was sold, I said I would strike a blow for freedom.
Brings you out so late, Phil?
You know, it's quiet. Nobody know who the hell I am.
Mysterious. So what do you do, mystery man?
Used to work for the FBI.
Top me off while I run to the ladies. Alienness.
Shit, are you a cop? No. Then what do you want? Money? Because I don't have any. Everything I make is for my kids. Miss
Virginia.
Virginia. Look, my work here is consensual, all right? And I work hard for my clients. Okay, you better fucking move.
I don't want anything from you.
Then what the hell do you want? What the hell do you want?
I'm your biological daughter.
Woo, woo, boy.
You're making me
Miss
tear up.
Miss Crystal, let me tell you something, Miss Crystal. If I was single and I saw you on screen and I saw you on the street, I would not try to date you because you acting your ass off. I wouldn't know if you being real with me or you're faking it because I'm bought everything you just showed me. Everything was like some top tier performances. And when you did those things, how were you able to embody the emotion that you showed on screen for those roles?
Okay, so let's go in order. The Good Lord Bird, that probably was the most emotional journey that I had to go on as an actor. It's dealing with oppression, with slavery. 1856, we actually shot in Virginia during the week of 1619. I mean, it was so much in the air that I was able to attach myself to, as well as, you know, the research and the work that I had to do. But I really just allowed Sabonia, my character's name, my ancestors, to just speak through me and use me. So that was an out-of-body experience, to say the least. Judas and the Black Messiah. Oh, that was fun. You know, knowing the story of Chairman Fred Hampton, but not the entire story, right? Because we don't get to learn these stories of prominent people in our culture. So being able to relearn his story and then actually see his life written out in a script and then execute it so brilliantly by the phenomenal actors that was in the project, it was just putting me in that time, right? And a majority of these things are time period. So that's typically my lane, is time period pieces. So, you know, I think we all have a little sense of like, oh man, if I was around back then, or if I lived in the 50s, how would I have reacted to, you know, the times? So just imagining and putting myself there amongst research and talking to people. I have people, you know, family members who was around in that era. So with, you know, picking their brain on what they knew, and what was happening, what the atmosphere was like, what was the climate during that time, really helped me a lot. And then Motel, that was, you know what, that was a scene that we did in an acting school that I attended. And even that script was powerful, being a mother who is reunited with the child that she gave away. She gave up for adoption. So yeah, that hit me hard as well, especially being a mom. So I didn't have to really dig deep for that.
I turned on a whole lot of people to all three of those, because once they saw your character on Janelle, those that didn't know you, they just wanted to see more. And so as I was doing my homework, getting to know who you are as an actress, I found those and I said, y'all have got to see her in these movies and these TV shows. I mean, this girl is killing it. So you've got a couple of new fans that are enjoying your work right now and went back to see you in some of those things. So kudos to you and Good Lord Bird. That one is highly recommended. Now, was that the one you was nominated for an award for, or was it one of the other shows?
That was Giants, nominated
Giants.
for an Emmy, a daytime Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Daytime Digital Drama Series.
Wow. Good Lord have mercy, man.
Yes.
So when you get ready to choose a role, and happy Black History Month, because those roles we just saw was strong lead Black History Month type roles.
Yes.
How do you select the roles you do? For example, Janelle on Hightown. How do you go about selecting the different roles that you want to portray?
Well, the audition has to come first. I wish I could just select what it is that I want to do. But, you know, as actors, we get opportunities and we have auditions. And I think that's where, as an actor, you can look over the material and then decide whether or not this is something that, you know, you think that you can handle or something that you don't think you can handle. But case in point with Janelle, when I read the material, I was like, oh, I know who this is. Automatically off the bat, I was like, oh, okay, I understand this. I get her. And I only was dealing with, I think, 2 or 3 scenes at the time. But when the writing is good, you know, a lot of times characters can just jump off the page for you. So I had a good time exploring her prior to self-taping. I had to self-tape the audition. So that's how. And then you send your tape. And then it's up to the creators and the producers and the network on whether or not you're the one. But I think for me, it's always a mindset. I always go into every audition that I am the one, right?
Right.
Now, I don't get everything, you know, no actor gets everything, but the mindset is always there that if it landed in my lap and I'm afforded the opportunity, then I am the one. And if it doesn't go that way, then that's fine. I applaud my fellow actors who do move on in the next step of casting and booking jobs, because it's a collaborative effort.
With Hightown, talk to me a little bit about how that environment felt from you. From everyone I've talked to, they just talk about how it was just one of the best environments they have been on as a performer. And they really enjoyed everyone from the cast to everyone they had to deal with the writing and producing. Did you have that same wonderful experience as well?
Yes, for sure. We shot in the height of the pandemic. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to work with the entire cast, even though my scenes aren't with anyone other than Osito from the cast. You know, I wasn't even able to, you know, see and interact with others because we were all on quarantine and working only on the days that we were scheduled to work. However, the crew and the cast that I was able to meet and work with was absolutely phenomenal. And you can feel it, even though everyone wasn't there, you know, at one time, you can feel that this was already a family in motion, right? I'm coming in on season 2. So that love and that foundation was already set. So for the new actors coming in, it was just like coming into a family. It was all love. So I appreciated that.
And Rebecca Cutter, I had her up here a couple of weeks ago. She told me they filmed in Wilmington, which is literally 2 hours from where I'm sitting at right now. So I was like, Rebecca, when they give you guys that season 3, you know, your boy might want to come down there and pass out some coffee, some dough. I don't got to be in nothing. I just want to pass out stuff and say, hey, y'all did
that
good.
Would be fantastic.
Right. I would love to come and do, or maybe hold a mic and do some interviews. I'm real crafted at that. So we'll see where it goes. But let's talk about Janelle this season. So there are some clips, specific clips I pulled just for you when you was on screen showing off just how great a therapist can be on TV. And by the way, Miss Crystal.
Yes.
Well, this question is really for Janelle in the Hightown universe. There are a lot of people that want to know, what school of therapy training did Janelle go to? Because there's dudes that want to go to that school themselves. So, you know, you think about that university she got her degree in, as I give you the first scene, and then I'll get your rebuttal on how it felt, what was going through your mind, and what was you guys trying to portray to the audience. Here we go.
Janelle, your physical therapist. How's your leg feel now?
My left leg hurts when I walk, but my third leg's ready for some exercise.
I need a male assist.
I'm on the way, Janelle.
Look, no, hold on. All right, I apologize. My mama didn't raise me to talk to a lady like that. This place makes you crazy.
Where you moving now, you'll never heal right. If you work hard, maybe you'll change that. But in here, you respect me. You pull that business again and you'll be limping your way back to Gen Pop. Got it?
You okay?
Ooh-wee. The sister don't play. You hear me? She does not play. So when I reviewed that episode, I told you already, I said they did not bring a hot therapist on this show for nothing. They're not just going to let her be a therapist and that's it. My wife's like, no, your mind always going in the wrong place. I said, okay, I'm gonna zip up my lip, throw away the key. Next thing I know, we play it out and look what happens. But talk to us about that intro for you into Hightown and what was you feeling and what were you trying to portray coming on to be his therapist?
Well, I think my job was just to take care of my patient, right? Now that look is something different, the moment that he crossed the line, right? I think in any profession, there's always the level of professionalism, right? Regardless that we are in a correctional facility, I'm treating my patient as a human being. I'm not treating him as an inmate. I'm not treating him as a criminal, right? My job is to help aid him to get better. And I think that was pleasant. A pleasant introduction until he took it a step further and got a little cute. So I think that's when School of Philly had to kick in and let him know that I'm not the one. This is not what we're doing. And let me preface that with my mother was a Philadelphia police officer. And prior to that, she was a correctional officer. And while she was a police officer, she's also a drill sergeant in the United States Army. So needless to say,
man. Whoa,
I'm not taking a bunch of, stuff from people. So I think that kicked in right there when he got a little out of line. But as we see, he got his act together.
He did.
Then I can get back to work.
and so because you displayed that level of respect, you commanded that level of respect. That's why a lot of people was looking at me crazy like, Lamont, she ain't doing nothing. She ain't doing nothing. Because you portrayed that role so well. People literally didn't think that anything was going to go on with that. But Mr. Lamont, who has sight beyond sight, I've seen this story. And I said, y'all just wait. So now we're going to careen to the next clip I want you to recap and talk a little bit about in this next scene. Here we go.
I appreciate you trusting me as a friend, but I can't keep the car. And I want to be clear. Just because you helped me doesn't mean I owe you anything.
You said you did, Doc.
That's all, Delgado. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Wait. I heard a rumor the unit is being searched tomorrow. You should go now.
Now, talk about acting with your facial features, man. You knocked that one out the park. But then we've got one important question as you recap that scene. Did you really give the car back?
I will hope at this point I did so I can be upgraded.
Oh Lord have mercy. Lord. You see, I got this shirt on. King of Cape.
Since you're dealing with the King of the Cape and all.
Yeah. She gave the car back, y'all. Exclusive.
I said I would
she
think
gave the car back.
that I would and get upgraded. But
okay.
No, I still have the car.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So talk to me about the gravity of that scene. Like I said, you was doing some wonderful facial acting, facial emotions. It felt like to me there was a moment in there where you was just like, you know what, bro, we're gonna keep this thing respectful, and you got a line, I got a line, we ain't gonna cross them. Then for something triggered in your mind, something just said, boom, I might want to help this brother out a little bit. Talk to us about that.
Well, I think that transition, that trigger, we were already establishing a friendship, right? So I believe before that, we already had the time on the yard. We were already talking. This is after he walked in and hearing, my conversation and So there was already a friendship developing, right?
Right.
So I don't think it was more so for me, okay, he gave me a car, so let me do a favor for him. It was more so separating Osito, the criminal, right? And Osito, the human being, the person that I was getting to know, right?
Okay.
I think what you don't see, especially like in television, is, you know, the fact that there was a friendship brewing, right? There was an attraction there, platonic, but I would know as the character what he's in jail for. I would know his history. I would know who I'm dealing with as an inmate, right? Putting that to the side, whether I chose to believe everything that I heard about him and who he is as Osito in the streets, but who I know in prison is totally different, right? So then it's like, well, I'm only judging him on how he treats me and how he acts around me. The record is the record. Yes, I understand that. But also for me to give him a heads up is to keep him around at one point, and me not wanting to, you know, see something happen to him. And knowing again that because I've worked in prisons and I know how inmates, especially of his caliber, operate, I think I would know that he was dealing inside the prison. So if I already knew that and didn't give him up, like, I need to continue to protect him in that regard.
And you portrayed that role well, because the same group of young ladies that I talked to about these reviews were still saying, she ain't do nothing wrong. That still don't mean she like him. I said, y'all, come on. Yeah. That's a little bit alike. That's a nope. Nope.
No.
And the thing that we want to know this too.
I think I've probably done that before. I don't think he probably was the first person that I gave a heads up about. Oh. I think just how the atmosphere of prison work, right? Gotcha. There's always someone on the inside that's just going to give you a heads up. Gotcha. And for me, I'm just giving you a heads up.
So what about the boyfriend? Talk to us about that. They didn't really go in depth with it. So we've got Janelle here to ask her. You had a little issue with the boyfriend. It's something that was the reason you got the car in the first place, because of whatever was going on with your other significant other. So what's the status of that significant other? And how was it that you work in a job where you make about 50 to 40,000? You don't have a car, and you've got a financial issue with that boyfriend. Give us some of that backstory. What's going on with him? And have you kicked him to the curb yet?
Of course I kicked him to the curb. He was already done riding around with my car and not getting it fixed. Yeah, no, it's done. It's over.
Okay.
I've moved on.
Oh, king of the cake, king of the cake. Okay, gotcha. So here's the next thing I want you to recap. Now we're starting to get a little bit more into the nuts and bolts of things evolving. So take a look at this.
I've been doing this job for 20 years. I've seen a lot of women in my position fall for inmates. Some of those women, they want a bad boy. They love the danger, rush. But that's not me. I'm just not that girl.
Then why did you kiss him?
I don't know.
I get that you're not that girl, but I'm not that guy either. And I'm not gonna be in here for the rest of my life. I'm gonna buy some flowers, purple ones, because I think that's your favorite color. I'm gonna knock on your door, and you gonna answer wearing some tight-ass jeans. You ain't gotta be that girl to be with me anymore. Then you're gonna invite me in.
I will, huh?
So you will, huh? Talk to us about that scene, Miss Crystal.
You know, this is at the point where we've already kissed, and I've had time to reflect on that and knowing that that wasn't, number one, professional, and it was out of character, and it shouldn't have happened, right? As I think he comes in and is asking me why did I ghost him, right? So we all know what ghosting means, right? Right. And for me, it was, I have to separate myself from this because I can feel myself falling for him, right? And like I said, I've seen this happen before. And in my research and in my character exploration, I found that this is a thing, right? Call it prison brides, call it, female correctional officers or employees who start relationships with inmates. It's called hybristophilia. And it is the attraction to dangerous men. It's an attraction to inmates. It's an attraction, and more so almost a bit of control, because you know their whereabouts. You know where they are all the time, right? You don't have
gotcha.
that outside stress of being in a relationship and not sure, of his whereabouts. So this is a huge thing. And then I went down the rabbit hole and reading different women's story and employees who lost their job or went on and married the inmate or what have you, that it's this attraction to the humanity of the person who does wrong or evil, right? And this feeling of this rush that I mentioned that comes over you because it's, wow, I'm in the relationship with someone who can harm people or is well respected, right? Who people fear. So I fell into that. So I think, once I was doing the research on that, I was like, oh, okay. And I already knew that that's happened. Like I know people who that has happened to. So I understand. That's why I said when I first got the material, I was like, oh, I know who this is. But to know that there was a term for it and that this was an ongoing thing, especially with female correctional officers or females that are employed in correctional facilities.
Wow, you learn something every day. Don't ask me to spell that word that you just gave us.
Okay.
Not correctly the first time.
I'll spell it for you. H-Y. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, put it in the chat so I can take a look at it.
It's tons of articles and stuff about it. It's really interesting.
Wow, my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, when we're done, if you want to just take this on the go with you, I will put it on the podcast. Be sure to download the podcast wherever you get your podcast so that you can take her on the go with you. And next week, I will have one of her castmates coming in, Imani Lewis, who plays Charmaine. She'll be coming next week. So you guys come back here on February the 9th to see what she has to say. And so there's one more scene. This is probably the most important scene for a lot of the sisters out there. The sisters out there, you represented them with a facial expression in this scene coming up. Let's play this and then we'll talk about it.
When they have physical therapy.
Like this.
I like this a lot.
No, baby.
I can't. I gotta take this. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I could get down to New York.
If we're gonna do this, I need to know what I'm getting myself into.
How about we go for round 2? Then I tell you everything.
Oh, goodness. Boy, if y'all didn't make that scene believable, as I don't know what, the giggling and like the high school couple, he actually did, because this was a bone of contention. People wanted to see him at your door with you in tight A jeans and the flowers. And I had to remind them, he did bring the flowers. Look at the flowers over there in the corner beside the lamp. He did bring the flowers.
I brought them for you.
Oh, no, you didn't. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. Her favorite color is purple, ladies and gentlemen. She brought the flowers for us. Girl, Hollywood, clap for her one more time. Look, she brought the flowers. For that, you get. Talk to us about that scene, Crystal. And there is one face you made that you represented every sister in America. And that was this face right here. When you just got finished with, as the young people call, a smash session, and somebody is texting to the point where the man feel the need to get up and answer that. Black sisters don't take no strife. They will be nosy and look, and they ain't gonna play with you. They're not gonna take no question. They're gonna look. Talk about the way you embodied that role.
Well, that's funny. You know, for those who wanted to see all that, I mean, you know, it's television. You can't show everything, right? But it was implied.
Right.
We already told you what was going to happen. And we know from that conversation in the office that after all that happens, what may happen after that. So this is where we smash cut to. No pun intended in smash cut.
Oh, you fine.
But yeah, so you know, I think that's where we are both at our most vulnerable in terms of attraction, right? We've already committed to this next turn of events in our relationship. And yeah, it led us here in the bed. And in terms of the, go ahead.
I do have to say one thing. Now, the shirt I'm wearing says he's the king of the cake. So I got jokes. I got jokes, Janelle. I got jokes.
Okay.
You can't have a king in a twin bed, Janelle. You've got to put the king of the cake in a California king bed, Mrs. Janelle.
I didn't do that. That wasn't my call. But we had a good laugh about it, though. We had a really good laugh about it. But again, right? It's all about the upgrade. So now he got to show me what he got to, you know. So
for season 3, am I going to go down this road of knowing that you are going to be willingly on King Osito's team, knowing what he's really doing?
I'm just saying, if you're rocking with me at this point, and you're wearing the king crown, like your shirt is implying, and you get into all the paper and the cape, then it's only right that the king's girl is upgraded so that it all makes sense. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Well, there's a way it could make sense. Janelle seems to be a woman with a moral compass. Now that compass might be starting not to work properly, but she has a moral compass. Could we see her have one foot in to the Osito thing and one foot into her current life? Or are we going to see her step all the way into one and not do this thing where she's balancing like a seesaw? So that's another spin that they could have on Janelle's going forward.
Yes, it could be. I love that too. I think it can go a myriad of ways. But what I said to him at the end was, you have to tell me everything.
Right.
Tell me so I know what I'm getting myself into. Right. That was the one. Right. So I would think that he told me what I was getting myself into. Now, did I agree or make the decision to deal with it? That remains to be seen. But I would think that I know everything, or as much as he's willing to tell me. But again, because I already know who he is and his record, I think I have a pretty idea of what I'm getting myself into because I'm already in it at this point.
Right.
But again, it could be a separate relationship aside from what, you know, he does in the Cape, and that's fine as well.
Gotcha. What would you like to see? How would you like to see your character evolve in season 3 when we finally get the green light for season 3?
Oh, wow. I don't want to jump to any conclusions. You know, I think our relationship, look at the picture. Our relationship blossoming and him also needing a ride or die. Right? Okay.
Right.
So, and also someone that still has an air in the inside. If we're going on still running what's happening in this prison. But I don't know. Well, I don't write the show.
So this, you know, a woman like you has already said that you got to get that car upgraded. You got to get that bed upgraded. And we're not talking about.
Those were just jokes.
Yeah.
Love is love, and you can't. It's not material.
I don't see you working. I don't see you working.
You don't see
I
me
can't.
working?
No, you can't be working because if that Janelle is going to be upgraded in that manner, she's not going to have finger hunt furniture in her house.
Not
She,
finger.
oh yeah, finger hunt. I'm an '80s baby, so my folks used to get that. She's not going to have that kind of furniture in her house. So I don't envision Janelle working in the prison. But like you said, it would be smart for him to keep somebody on the inside. That would be the smart move. So, you can leave all the hypothesis and speculation to me. Between now and when the show comes on, I'm going to keep making videos about what I think is going to happen, and we'll just see where it goes from there.
Okay.
So,
awesome.
As I get ready to get you on the off ramp, I do have a super fan here who wants to ask you one question that loved the show and loves everything about Hightown. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you your very own Moochella. Hey, Moochie.
I got my shirt on too.
Where y'all getting these t-shirts from? I need one of those.
This was the video I did. Is he gonna be king of the cave? So look, if it goes according to my predictions, you're not gonna have no parts of that because you're not gonna want that at your house. You wanna have everything separate, but you're gonna reap the benefits of it. That's just me, myself personally.
I like that.
But I see that you pick a lot of parts that are very positive. And my question is, what inspired you to want to be an actress?
Well, like I said earlier, my mom introduced me to amazing movies, right? And those movies were what sealed the deal for me in terms of artistry, right? Watching Meryl Streep and Silkwood and watching Don Knotts and It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. I didn't even know what I was watching, but I knew that it was something spectacular and I knew I wanted to do that. So I was inspired very young by watching other artists. And of course, growing up on all the popular television shows that we all grew up on watching, it was more like, oh, and I can be a young actor. Oh, or I can be an adult actor. Like there wasn't a timeline where I can jump into this career. So I was inspired by those things first. And then once I started to get my feet wet and went to school and started learning the craft, and that's another level of inspiration, right? Because it's like, oh, this is an art form, right? This is not just you say what you're saying on television and you get a few laughs and shed a few tears or something like that. Like this is art. So then it was me learning the art form, understanding the craft, understanding my instrument, right? And working that muscle. So all of that is what led me on this journey of putting the work in, understanding. It wasn't about accolades or anything. It was like, oh, I can pretend. I can be someone else. I can take on another life. I can tell a story, right? Especially and now telling a story where some people don't have a voice. And it's the artist's job to tell that story, tell stories that will move people, that would change people, that make you think. So those are the type of projects and roles that I love. Is, Janelle is a real story. There are women like Janelle. There, I just gave you the term, high Bristol Philly.
Exactly.
It is a thing. And it's not, it shouldn't be this label of because they love someone that's in prison. Well, they love someone. And we all love someone, good, bad, or indifferent, right? So Janelle has a story, and her story is she's falling for an inmate. Okay, so now he's out. So I can still continue to fall for him, right? Even though he has this persona or this reputation, right? We all have a reputation, but shouldn't he still be loved or be cared for? So I think, when you look at it from the heart of humanity and all these characters flawed are meaningful, right? That's, we love the flawed character, right? So the flawed character is who we gravitate to. So, and I think we're all flawed. So, yeah.
Okay, I have one more question. I know that you like Marvel. and you said that you wanted to play a villain. So I want to know, what villain would you play? Like,
I know who she could play.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, oh, I would love to see her in Black Panther, first of all. So I'm gonna just check that out.
She could be Storm.
The Wakanda series on Disney Plus. I want you to get something in there where we've seen.
I receive a Marvel show.
I could see her being Storm, just like that, controlling all the weather elements.
Okay, yes. I know, but she said she wanted to play a villain. That's why I asked. Storm is even better.
Storm has a role where she attacks King T'Challa, and in that point, she is a villain.
There you go. That's how.
See, I'm not that deep in the storyline of Storm, but
yeah, they got married.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Let me not admit that I didn't know that.
She married
I would think that I would want the villain aspect of my character to be, what is the mask that I'm wearing underneath the person who's there to save the day.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to hurt nobody.
Ooh. Gotcha. Thank you, Moochie. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Moochie. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so, very grateful for you to take the fan question. And as I get you out of here, what else are you currently working on that the fans can look forward to following you on your journey through your career?
Oh, well, I'm working on something and I can't talk about it, but it'll be out soon.
Okay.
And I did just recently shoot a Super Bowl commercial with Mary J. Blige, so I think that's running now that the Super Bowl is upon us. Yes,
right.
So that was great.
Oh man! So here's another question that everybody has asked me to ask everybody, from Rebecca to Atkins to Dominique. If Stars wanted to do a crossover with the Power Universe, how would you feel about that crossover happening?
That would be great. I'm behind on Power Book 1. So I watched the whole first Power. Yeah, so I have to catch up. But that world was amazing. I was like, oh, I want to be on the first Power. I think that crossover would be great. But then we would have to put Osito up against, who's the bad guy on there? Method Man, I think. I don't know if he's the bad guy.
Mary J. Blige's family is the bad guy, the Tejada family.
Yes.
And this season, they've got a guy named Mecca, who's also an anti-hero. Well, no, he's really a bad guy. So you've got all those storylines evolving and blossoming. And it's just a big mess. And the finale is actually this Sunday.
Okay. I have to catch up. But that crossover would be amazing, I think. Then we just come in here and take over.
Yeah. Oh, no, she didn't, y'all. She put the hammer down. She said, we're going to come in there and take over. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. And Miss Crystal, thank you so much for your time. When we're done, if you'll wait a split second to let me end the live so I can say goodbye properly. Thank you for coming. Please show her some love.
Thank you for having me. And I just want to shout out all the Hightown fans. Shout out to Rebecca Cutter, to Ellen Schwartz, to Jerry Bruckheimer, the whole Stars family, Hightown family. Such an amazing cast and crew, such a dynamic show. And I'm looking forward to season 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and all the wonderful things. And our lead, Monica, who's just superb. So yeah, and all the fans, y'all are amazing. So thank you.
We really believe in the show. We love the show. It's been
a
fantastic
Atkins.
ride.
I didn't shout him out.
Yeah. Shout out Mr. Atkins. Yes. Shout out now, because you became America's most favorite villain this season. And here is your sweet ride or die right here, waiting to get in that car and ride with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll give her an applause out of here. And thank you so much for coming.
Awesome.
Be sure to like the video, subscribe. She's got links in my video description. You can find her on Twitter. You can find her on IG. She's on IMDb. Check her out. And if you're watching this, Moochella is going to be going on right now as soon as I get off on her show called Hidden Gems. Thank you, Miss Crystal Lee Brown. We hope that when we get to seasons 3, we can have you come back and talk a little bit about how things are going.
Awesome. I look forward to it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yep, guys. Until that next Sexy as Hell video, which will be tomorrow, I'll see you.
Bye.